everyone, welcome back to my channel Conceptual Medico. Today's topic is cubital fossa. So I have divided the topic cubital fossa into 6 divisions. So firstly we have features of the cubital fossa, then boundaries of the cubital fossa, roof of the cubital fossa, floor of the cubital fossa and contents related to the cubital fossa along with the clinical anatomy. So firstly, we'll see the features of the cubital fossa. So under the features of the cubital fossa, there are 3 points. So cubital fossa is triangular in shape. It is a hollow structure and it is situated in or on the front of the elbow. And cubital fossa is homologous to the popliteal fossa of the lower limb, which is situated on back of the knee. So cubital fossa is, we can find the cubital fossa if we look at the front of the elbow, and it is triangular in shape. It is a hollow structure and it is homologous to a structure which is called the popliteal fossa, which is present on the back of the knee. Now boundaries of the cubital fossa. So the cubital fossa is bounded by, laterally it is bounded by a muscle which is a brachioradialis, and medially it is bounded by pronator teres muscle. Now which part of the brachioradialis muscle forms the boundary? It is the, suppose this is the lateral border of the brachioradialis and this is the medial border of the brachioradialis muscle, and this is the lateral border of the pronator teres muscle and this is the medial border of the pronator teres muscle. So we can see that the medial border of the brachioradialis muscle and the lateral border of the pronator teres muscle will form the lateral and the medial border of the boundaries of the cubital fossa. Let's not confuse this. The cubital fossa is bounded laterally by the medial border of the brachioradialis muscle and it is medially bounded by the lateral border of the pronator teres muscle. Okay, this is the medial border of the brachioradialis muscle, this one, and this is the lateral border of the pronator teres muscle, which is this one. So the cubital fossa has lateral border which is formed by the brachioradialis muscle and medial border which is formed by the pronator teres muscle. Now let's see the apex. Now the apex of the cubital fossa is formed by it is directed downwards. That is, the cubital fossa is an inverted triangle. Okay, so the apex is directed downwards here and it is formed by the meeting point of the lateral and the medial borders. Clear? Now the base of the cubital fossa. So the base of the cubital fossa is formed by an imaginary line which is joining the two epicondyles of the humerus. So suppose this is the lateral epicondyle and this is the medial epicondyle. So a line joining these two epicondyles of the humerus will form the base of the cubital fossa. This is the lateral epicondyle, this is the medial epicondyle. A line joining the lateral and the medial epicondyle will form the base of this triangle. Clear? Now let's see. I have drawn a schematic diagram here which shows these green balls and the red ball. The green is the medial epicondyle and the red is the lateral epicondyle. So on the medial side we have the pronator teres muscle and on the lateral side we have the brachioradialis muscle forming the boundaries of the cubital fossa, and these two boundaries will meet and they will form the apex which is directed downwards. And these are the contents which are present in now the roof of the cubital fossa. So the roof of the cubital fossa is formed by 4 structures. So if we look at the front of our elbow, we will find the first structure which we will find is our skin. Then beneath the skin we have the superficial fascia, under which we have the deep fascia, then we have a bicipital aponeurosis. Now there are 4 structures which form the roof of the cubital fossa, that is skin, superficial fascia, deep fascia, and bicipital aponeurosis. So what is bicipital aponeurosis? It's nothing but it is an extension of the bicep brachii tendon, and it is a flat and thin tendon sheet, and it will descend down and it will get attached to the skin over here. This is the bicipital aponeurosis. Now the floor of the cubital fossa. Floor of the cubital fossa is formed by two muscles, that is brachialis muscle and supinator muscle. Contents of the cubital fossa. It is very important to know about the contents of the cubital fossa because it's often question is been asked from these topic. Now contents. Now if we move from medial to laterally, we'll find there are four structures or four contents. The mnemonics is MBBR. M stands for median nerve, B stands for brachial artery, then the second B stands for bicep brachii tendon, and R stands for radial nerve. Okay, so the median nerve. Now median nerve in the cubital fossa will descend down and it will supply to the flexor carpi radialis muscle, palmaris longus muscle, and flexor digitorum superficialis muscle. Then the median nerve will pass between the two heads of the pronator teres. So the median nerve will arise and it will supply to the flexor carpi radialis muscle, palmaris longus muscle, and flexor digitorum superficialis muscle, and then it will pass between the two heads of the pronator teres muscle. Now the brachial artery. So in the cubital fossa, the brachial artery will terminate and radial and the ulnar artery will arise in the cubital fossa. Now these radial and the ulnar artery will divide into different branches. The radial artery will divide into radial recurrent branch, and the ulnar artery will divide into three branches, that is the anterior recurrent branch, anterior ulnar recurrent branch, posterior ulnar recurrent branch, and the common interosseous branches. So the brachial artery will terminate in the cubital fossa, and then from there the radial and the ulnar artery will arise. The radial artery will divide into radial recurrent branch, and the ulnar artery will give off anterior ulnar recurrent branch, posterior ulnar recurrent branch, and common interosseous branches. Now the next B is our tendon of the bicep brachii. So this we know that it is the bicipital aponeurosis. We know that. Now radial nerve. Now radial nerve in the cubital fossa, here it will give off the posterior interosseous nerve, which we can say the deep branch of the radial nerve. Now this deep branch of the radial nerve will supply to the two muscles. Firstly, it will supply to the extensor carpi radialis brevis muscle, and secondly it will supply to the supinator muscle. So the radial nerve in the cubital fossa, it will give a branch which is the posterior interosseous nerve or deep branch of the radial nerve, and it will supply the extensor carpi radialis muscle, radialis brevis muscle, and supinator muscle. And then the radial nerve will leave the fossa by piercing the supinator muscle. Now the clinical anatomy. Now it is important. Why it is important to know the cubital fossa is because of these 3 points. Firstly, intravenous injection. Second is the blood pressure, and third is a supracondylar fracture. So what is this? Now intravenous injection. Now the median cubital vein is a vein of choice for intravenous injections, which is in the cubital fossa. Okay, so in the cubital fossa we'll find the median cubital vein, and this is a vein of choice for intravenous injection. Now blood pressure. To record the blood pressure, we need to auscultate the brachial artery. So we will find the brachial artery in the front of the elbow joint. So the cubital fossa is an important part because we can record the blood pressure of a person by auscultating the brachial artery in that area. Now the third point is the supracondylar fracture, that is, if we know the anatomy of the cubital fossa, we can detect or we can find out the site of the humerus fracture or supracondylar fracture. So it is very important to know about the clinical anatomy of the cubital fossa. Now let's revise quickly The cubital fossa is divided into 6 parts: features, boundaries, roof, floor, contents, and clinical anatomy. So under the features there are 4 points. That is, the cubital fossa is triangular in shape, it is hollow structure, it is in front of the elbow, it is homologous to the popliteal fossa. Secondly, the boundaries. Now, lateral boundary of the cubital fossa is formed by the brachioradialis muscle, medial border of the brachioradialis muscle. The medial boundary of the cubital fossa is formed by the lateral border of the pronator teres muscle, and the base of the cubital fossa is formed by an imaginary line joining the two epicondyles of the humerus. This we know. Now, apex. Now, the apex of the cubital fossa is directed downwards and it is formed by the two meeting of the lateral and the medial borders. Now, roof of the cubital fossa is formed by 4 structures. First, skin, then beneath skin we have the superficial fascia, under which we have the deep fascia, and then the bicipital aponeurosis. Now, the floor of the cubital fossa. Floor of the cubital fossa is formed by the two muscles, supinator and brachialis muscle. Now, contents related to the cubital fossa, the mnemonics is MBBR, that is median nerve, brachial artery, tendon of the bicep brachii, and the radial nerve. We'll find these 4 structures if we move from medial to lateral inside the cubital fossa. Now, clinical anatomy, there are 3 points. The intravenous injection, the median cubital vein is important for intravenous injection, and the brachial artery, we can auscultate the brachial artery and we can find out, or we can record the blood pressure at the cubital fossa. And for detecting the supracondylar fracture, it is important to know about the anatomy of the cubital fossa. Okay, thank you.